Welcome to Your Fitness Money Coach podcast, the show for gym owners and fitness entrepreneurs who want to make money work for them, not the other way around. I'm your host, Billy Hofacker. I used to be buried in $470,000 of debt. Today, I help fitness pros like you pay yourself more, reduce money stress, and grow a business that actually supports your life, not just demands more of it. Every week, we dive into real-world strategies to simplify your finances, build lasting profit, and take back control, both in business and at home. If you're tired of hustling without clarity and you want a business that fuels your freedom, you're in the right place. Let's go. I'm excited to have Tim Stout with us today. This is kind of an interesting episode. I'll give you guys a quick backdrop. Well, first off, Tim, thanks so much for taking some time. I know you got a lot going on, and I really appreciate you being here and sharing some gems with us.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Billy.
Cool, man. So let me just give a quick backstory. I read recently that a lot of people are all like, yeah, let's give the listeners what they want. And just, I'm like, man, this is one that I'm really excited about for me. But I really do think it's gonna deliver a lot of value for people. I just think it's interesting how this whole thing happened. I don't hide the fact that I'm a person of faith, and I think everything happens for a reason. And you and I met, I don't know if you remember when that was, but yeah, I mean, you probably know the year better than me, because I have a feeling that you remember like what you were doing in your life at that point. Was it like 2010 or something like that?
It was close, because we was in the, no, it was a little further past 2010, because we was in my old building. It's probably 2010, 2011. It was okay. Right around that time, because I was in the old building and I was still Moab Biting Concepts. And,
okay.
For about, let's say 8 years, I partnered with Chris Ruiz in our independent MMA.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I want to take take us on a little journey here, but I just want to start there. So here I am. So is it Noonan? Is that where it is?
Yep.
Or yeah.
Yep.
All right. So most people that are listening probably know I'm from New York originally, and my parents moved down to Georgia, and here I am visiting them. What would you say? It's like 2011, 2012, something like that.
Close to that, yeah.
And man, I'm gonna say it was about 170 degrees outside, and I look online, I find this place, MMA, jiu-jitsu. It wasn't that far. I drove down there, walked in, and man, we connected right away. You just really welcomed me in, and I just felt super comfortable. But man, this was one of those workouts that I still have nightmares about. I just remember you were doing like conditioning and jiu-jitsu and MMA. I remember taking like weight plates and doing all these shoulder exercises, and then doing like some like ground and pound drills and grappling drills and all this stuff. And I was going with one of your guys. Was it Douglas?
Doug, yeah. Doug's a freak, man. Doug's a black belt now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's tough, man. Just a big, like strong, tough, kind of like a country boy, tough kind of deal. And I just remember it was like I was so exhausted, and it was awesome, man. We had a really good session, and really, I don't think we've ever physically talked since then, but we connected a bunch of times online, and I just watched your journey. At that point, the reason I share that is because I think your life has, for both of us really, but it's not about me, things have turned out very differently for you. You've like done so many things since then, and I think it's interesting from a money standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a personal development standpoint. I mean, for all those things, just from all the content that I see that you share, and I'm just reading your stuff, and we're constantly going back and forth. I'm just like, man, I think I'd love to have you on my show, and I reached out, and you're happy to do it, which is awesome. But let's take the little journey there. When we met, did you own that building? Like, what were you doing at that point? What was your situation?
I didn't own the building, but I owned the gym there.
Okay.
We rented there.
Yep.
And that was my first business.
Okay.
And I was still fighting then. I was still fighting professionally then.
Okay.
And probably wasn't too much longer than that. I think in 2013, that's when I retired from fighting.
Okay.
And then I got into real estate and everything else.
Got it. What was that transition like? Like, did you know you wanted to do real estate? Did something happen? Like, how did that whole thing transpire for you?
It's an interesting story. I wanted to get paid. I wanted to be in sales because I wanted to get paid for what I did. Before I moved here, like I worked, I had factory jobs. I was still fighting professionally, but I had factory jobs. I worked in detention centers, and I was the guy who showed up 30, 45 minutes early, and I was the guy who stayed 30, 45 minutes late. If I got paid for it or not, I had jobs to complete, and I come in and I work harder than everybody. If I'm making $15 an hour, but so is Joe, so is Susie, so is Elaine, everybody's making the same I am. But because of who I am, I showed up early. I did more, worked harder, did a better job, and stayed later. And when I was done fighting, I wanted to get paid for what I was doing because I knew I had a ridiculous work ethic, and I was going to be in sales. I thought I would sell cars. I would sell something. I didn't know what I would sell. And one day I was doing a cardio kickboxing class, and have you seen my classes they're pretty intense.
Oh yeah.
And I had 3 ladies come in, and they dressed nice, smelled nice cars, like successful, what I thought success was. Come in and talk to them a little bit, and they end up being real estate agents. And then I never once thought I could do real estate at all because I figured it'd be too much above me, not fancy enough, all the things. And these girls quit probably 12 minutes into the workout not because they couldn't do it, but because it was hard. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'll just outwork them. I'm going to sell real estate. I mean, it's the most expensive thing you can buy. Why would I not want a commission off that?
Nice. That's how it started for you. You mentioned your work ethic. Where did that come from?
Growing up poor, growing up in Appalachia was a big part of it, and fighting. Like fighting was a big part of it because I realized real quick that I was strong, I was physical, I was fast, I was all the things, but I wasn't a freak at anything except work ethic. So I realized I was beating a lot of people who were freaks, but I was beating them because I outworked them, I outtrained them, I was I out-disciplined them.
So I'm assuming it was partly innate and partly just from your environment, because there's probably a lot of people that grew up around you that didn't have the same work ethic. I'm assuming. Same
people grow in the same household that didn't have that same work ethic.
Yes, I hear that. Yeah, yeah. So what is that about? Is it just hard to explain? Is it something that you developed? Like, where does that come from?
I think I just knew it was my strongest point, and I refused to grow. Like one thing, like a story I tell, like I had 4 brothers, 2 sisters, and we grew up in like an 870 square foot house. Like it was literally 4 boys in one room, the girls and my parents in a room, and it was great family, lots of love, church, 3 days a week, everything that you're supposed to. But like I was sick and tired. I was embarrassed, like to be poor, even though I didn't know how poor we were, because everybody was poor where I'm from. Yeah. But we were like poor. And I just remember I'm always like, I'm not going to be that. I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, I'm going to be poor. I mean, she'd send me to the grocery store with like $4.73 because that's exactly what it was going to cost when I got there. And I was scared to death something went up a penny. And what happens if I can't afford it? Now everybody's going to know that I'm broke, like they couldn't know anyway. And I was hell bent on, I'm not being that guy. Like I'm going to fix it.
Was there a point where you obviously started making some money at some point? Was there a transition point for you where you're like, yeah, I'm not so poor anymore? Or like, I'm just curious of like what that was like.
I remember the moment. It happened. I remember I was driving an old Audi, and I was coming right up to where the gym was. There's that big tire store that was in front of the gym. I mean, I was passing it, and I had $4,000 in my savings account. And I remember looking at that store, and I was talking to my wife on the phone, and I'm like, all 4 of my tires could go flat. I could pull in there and get new tires, not on credit, and not have to miss a payment somewhere else. Like that was like my determining moment. I'm just like, wow, like I'm doing it.
That's
and
crazy.
It was 4,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have almost a very similar story where my wife and I were driving, because we have I don't know if you know our whole story, where we had this crazy financial turnaround, and there was one point where we started getting ahead, and we're driving on the road, and I think my wife looked at me and said something very similar. She said, we could break down right now, and we're going to be okay. And we're like, wow, it's crazy. Were there any downsides to your work ethic? Do you ever feel like that has hurt you in any ways? I'm just curious, not trying to create a problem where there's not one, but you hear people say sometimes like hard work is really important, but then at some point you got to leverage. And I know you do both of those things, but was there a point where maybe that's held you back or something like that?
The hard work ethic, and I'm the get it done guy. Like I'm really good at growing $1 million businesses. I have multiple ones, but to be able to break into that, 8-figure business is very difficult for me, because if anything gets hard with my team, I just do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm not the best at anything. I figure it out. I'm good. I refuse to lose. But because of that, it kept me from scaling like I'm supposed to. Because I was scaling like, I need this job done. Who will do it for the cheapest? Thinking that everybody would give me equal effort, equal knowledge for an equal result. Now I understand that you pay for what you get. And the last business I'm building right now is the investing business. It's the cash offer side of my real estate team. And, I've had a couple hires on that one, and I'm hiring people what they're worth. Like they're going to make 6 figures if they do it like they're supposed to, because I've learned my lesson because you read the book Who Not How. I'm sure I've read 500 self-development books, and Who Not How was a big one. And I remember sitting in a meeting. I'm a member of the boardroom. The boardrooms that you pay an exorbitant amount of money to meet with these people 4 times a year, and you're in there with big players. I'm talking about people who are managing billions of dollars of hedge fund money, and you're in there and you're talking to them. And one of them told me, Tim says, it's it's like, it's who, not how. And he goes, Tim, it's not a who anymore. You're only hiring who stars. Who is the person who can, not only can do it, has done it at a high level and have done and got the results that you're looking for. That's who you hire. You give them $30,000 more if that's what they want, because that's what's going to catapult you into the next level. So yes, that being that guy, I can run through walls, kept me running through walls when I should have been looking how to go around them.
But I guess one of the takeaways is that it'll get you pretty far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, I've been the number one agent in my area for a long time. It's like, but it's not going to get me where I want to be though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think both of those are true. And those are really good takeaways. What was the transition like because you started off as an agent and then you ultimately became an investor yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What was the time period there?
When I first started real estate, I wanted to invest in real estate because, you always hear like, you're 90% of millionaires are real estate through their houses, their property, they're wealthy that way. And I'm like, well, that's what I want to do. And I was buying real estate because I was a real estate agent. I bought real estate traditionally. I would go in, I would find something I considered a deal, buy it on MLS, rent, cash flow, all the things. And I did that for years. I'm about 44 rentals right now. And I did that for years, still do it for years. But now I understand there's a science of getting a deal. There's a science of leveraging other people's money. There's a science of the refinance. There's a science of the tax codes. And they're all of this different. Like when I was swimming in the kiddie pool, not realizing this thing is 100 feet deep. And now I ain't at 100 feet yet, but I'm a lot deeper than I was. So I'm learning all the different strategies and what I like to do. And one of my strongest feats is like, I'm a very good negotiator. So I'm able to negotiate these deals like deep. I'm able to get these deals. I can refinance and get every dime I've got in it back and then some, and still have somebody else pay for the house. So
if you're listening, I hope you're hearing some of these. There's always these little takeaways on the in-between stuff, and negotiating is a huge part of business, right, Tim?
Well,
it's any business, right?
Yeah.
And life, right?
You're always negotiating.
Yeah. Man,
or do you want to eat, go to bed, like all the time, you're negotiating.
What comes up as what makes a good negotiator, you think? What would be the top 1 or 2 thoughts for being a good negotiator?
I've read all the negotiating books. I've took the courses. I mean, I've trained with Chris Voss's Black Swan group, and I'm a certified residential real estate I do that. I'm certified on all of it. But make a good negotiator is everything has to be your idea. I listen twice as much as I talk. I got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I asked you questions that allows you to come up with the result that I needed done. If I tell you, I'm the guy selling you and I'm telling you this, but if I can pose a question that makes you realize it, you're going to support your decision fully instead of listening to mine. So it's how do I do that? How do I convince you to think like I need you to think?
That's good. I heard one guy say that people will, and of course, there's all these cliches. They're not always 100% true, but he said people will never believe what you say. They'll sometimes believe what other people say, but they'll always believe what they say.
That 100%. and it's like when I'm negotiating these cash offers, it's like I go in, they want 200,000, and I want to be at 150. So I come in, I anchor at 130, and they're like, that's just way too low. They're getting offensive. And I was like, I'm not trying to be offensive. It's like, you shot for the moon and I shot for the floor. What do you think, and I'm doing these hands. Like, what do you think is reasonable? And they're like, I mean, I would at least have to meet you in the middle. I'm like, oh man. It's like, I got to let them feel like they win. If they don't win, it's not a win. They got to feel like they win. So I fight back and forth and we settle at 150. Their problem solved and I got a house.
I have a feeling this might turn into a sales pitch for martial arts, but how much has like getting punched in the face and being locked in a cage with somebody, how much has that helped you in these environments of negotiating and some of these tough these things are, when you say it to me, I have a little bit of that too, where it's kind of exciting for me. It's like, it's like that challenge and there's probably a little bit of a rush there. But I think for a lot of people, that's frightening. Like, man, I gotta do a low anchor and then I gotta figure out what to say. And I know it comes with reps and learning and training, but how much of that has been supported by you just doing other hard stuff like fighting and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I used to knock on doors and cold call and do all the things. And people are like, are you not scared? I'm like, I literally got punched in the face for a living. Like they're going to shut the door or they're going to yell mean things at me. That is it.
Yeah.
And with the negotiating part is like, I am going to say something that offends them. I need that house at an offensively low number to make sure I make money. They're going to get offended by it because this is an emotional. You can't provide logic when they're emotional. So they get emotional because I've had to do it. And then I provide a question that allows them to get logical. I'm sorry, you shot for the moon. I shot for the floor. Like, obviously we're way off. Where do you thinking we could come in at? And it's those just, they're like, then they think logically, like, well, what would I settle for? So it's I'm not going to get punched in the mouth. And if I do, it's bad for them. But, I'm not going to, there's no fear because why would they be? I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings and I want to solve their problem. But I have to solve a problem that puts me in a good, equitable position.
I don't know if this is a fair question, but what would you say to somebody who's like, yeah, I'm not a fighter. I've never been in a cage, but yeah, I'm kind of nervous calling people and doing those kinds of things that I know I have to do in business. Is it just like, man, you got to live in reality? Like that's part of the deal. Is there any other thoughts you'd have for somebody like that?
The more reps you do, the easier it gets. I mean, when you first started doing push-ups, it was horrible. You do push-ups every day. Now all of a sudden you're doing 50 of them.
That's good.
I would just do reps and find out what are you trying to get. Like my ideal of negotiating and selling is I'm going to ask you questions that I get to uncover all the information that I need to help you with your decision. And as I've helped your decision, I'm going to pose a question that allows you to pose the only option that's going to work. But if like the hard sell is what people are scared of. But when I create a solution for you, then it's not a sale. You're like, I'll do that. I buy a lot of properties on the market. I'll call these sellers and I'm like, hey, this is probably not what you want to do. I see you're listed on the market for $250,000. We obviously know it's not worth $250 or it would have sold already. I said, so I do offers about 70% of value. This is probably not you, but I just want you to know that if something ever changed that you needed it sold fast, I'm your guy. And they'll be like, man, I appreciate it. And then they'll call 2-3 weeks later and be like, we're tired of this. We're going to move to New Hampshire. And it's like, we're done. And I'm like, okay, and I'll go sign. But just because of the way that I proposed it, like I didn't push it on them. Like the hard sell is old. Nobody wants to be sold. People's sales resistance are through the roof. So you can't hard sell anymore. You have to ask really good questions and provide really good options for people.
No, that's good. I love that. Just the reps. I think most people, we just struggle with the volume, right? It's just like, you got to have the volume before you start making changes, before you start making decisions that it works or it doesn't work. Switching gears a little bit, do you still own your martial arts academy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And partners.
Is that your partners? Is that a big focus for you, or is that more of just something you do because you like it and you're more focused on the real estate side of things?
When I first started in real estate, like my third year, the average 75% of agents last year didn't sell any houses. Like this is how the industry works, and it's been like that for the last several years. Wow. The average producing agent sells 5 or 6 homes a year. My third year in the business, I sold 76. Wow. And I couldn't go in the gym. I couldn't sell real estate past 5 o'clock because I was in the gym. So it was costing me massive amounts of money to be in the gym. The gym was profitable. It's always been profitable. So I got a buddy who owns a gym in McDonough, which is an hour east, and it's a big gym, very successful gym. And I was like, man, Chris, I said, well, why don't you come in and buy my gym? He came in and looked at it. He taught a few classes. He's like a world champion black belt, like phenomenal grappler. Like, you grab these certain people, it makes you feel like you don't know anything. He is that guy. Like he makes me feel like I don't know anything. I'm like, I was just buy. And he goes, well, Tim, I don't want to buy the whole business. I want to buy half of it. I'm like, Chris, I'm not going to do anything. He goes, I need your name.
Wow. And
I'm like, okay. And now I teach an advanced grappling no-gi class, and I teach an advanced kickboxing class, and I train all the local sheriff's departments. And so I do that, and it's just, I want to do that. I do it at 6 in the morning. And, it's, and the people I'm in there with, my client, my avatar is a 35 to 55-year-old blue-collar millionaire. That is the person I want to do business with. That's the person that's going to invest with me. And that's who I attract at a $200 a month jiu-jitsu class that someone's going to get up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I get up at 5 in the morning and do a combat kettlebell class with about a dozen of them on my own time. They just come in and it's like, these are the people I want to be with. And they become my great friends, clients, and some of them even my private money lenders if I need something.
Yeah, that's cool. And I can relate to that too. I teach jiu-jitsu here twice a week. Similar idea there. Just keeps me doing something else, and I enjoy it, and you're helping out.
Forces you to do it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would do it a
Yeah.
lot less if I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be curious about the mindset. I know you talk a lot about that, but you hear so many stories and you see so many things where somebody grew up without money, and then we just think about. I guess the famous one is Mike Tyson, right? But then you think of all the NFL players and NBA players who come from very little and then make a lot of money, and they destroy their lives, they go bankrupt, they lose their money. How have you responded to doing a lot better financially? Because I could see either being very kind of scared to spend money, and that would make sense. I could see overspending because we see that all the time, or maybe you've like figured it out. Like I'm curious how that went for you.
No, that's a great question. In the beginning, I was scared. Like I saved a lot of money, a lot of money. Then you realize, the different rooms you're hanging in, that the more you're saving, the is you're losing. You're losing it through, through appreciate. You're losing your money and through inflation and everything. So but now, I've been doing really well for 13, 14 years. I live in a multi-million-dollar house. I get a new car every year. I got a 200,000. I've got it all that I want. But every time my expenses go up, so is my 6 months hedge nest. The more money that I made, the more money that I saved. I want 6 months of a cushion. So if I buy a house and the mortgage is an extra $1,000, I save an extra $6,000 to put in the account. And I do the same thing with my businesses. We have a 6-month reserve. If we want to add a marketing channel, a different staff, something, we save 6 months, or we put 6 months in it, and then we can allocate it.
Nice.
So that creates safety for me. And I'm constantly, like, my money, like I'll buy a $200,000 house. I pull my $200,000 back out. I'm not taxed with that. So I can reallocate that money, buying property. And the properties you make a couple $100 a month, $200 or $300 a month a piece. But every 8 years I can refinance them and pull $70,000, $80,000 that's, tax free. So that helps a lot too.
Yeah. Do you invest outside of real estate, or is that where you're focused?
I've got probably $100,000 between Tesla, EXP, and just your basic giveaways. And, I don't do a whole lot of that because I don't understand it yet, but I'm getting to a position where I'm going to have to, because I'm slowing down on the real estate and I'm doing a lot more private money lending. And that creates a lot more cash flow that I need to be invested somewhere.
Nice. I'm assuming probably like me, a lot of people listening don't understand real estate investing. I'm sure we have some. We've had a couple of guys on the show, but you mentioned before reading, I think you said 500 personal development books. That's one area I want to touch on because you do post about that. Where did that start for you? And I know you talked about your background. Did that also lend to you being like, man, I got to figure some stuff out. I got to read some books. Like, how did that start for you, that journey of personal development?
One of my biggest fears is being the guy that don't know anything. Because I've got two things that points all fingers that I shouldn't know it. I quit high school in 10th grade. I've got a GED, so I shouldn't know a lot. And I've been hitting the head for 15 years. I shouldn't know a lot. I was a professional athlete. So a lot of things pointing, and I refuse to be that guy. And so I've studied. I've always had coaches. And I've probably had 2 to 3 coaches for the last 10 years at a time. They coach me in recruiting. They coach me in sales. They coach me in investing. It's like, and I read the books. I buy the courses. It's like, I need, especially for me in like leadership where I lead, it's like my cup has to be overflowing before I can pour in someone else's cup. So I keep it overflowing.
We're going to start wrapping up here soon, but what does that look like for you? Like, is that just like the morning, miracle morning? Like, what is that? How does that play out for you? Like, is it just sort of natural? You're like, I'm going to pick up a book and read it. I'm going to take this course. Is there any sort of system to the personal development, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I got a couple of guys I mentor and they're always asking me the same thing. It's like, well, coach, I don't understand that. I'm like, okay, read it again in 3 months. You're going to understand it. Most of mine is I go through, like, I just come off of an advanced questioning like spree. I took the 2 or 3 courses. I took the negotiating course. I've read the books. I've did the classes, and because it's like I keep in the same even like genre to understand exactly what I need now. Because I went into real estate investing real heavy for years and I really understand it at a high level. I teach it at a high level. So then I went to the advanced questioning to help me train my agents. And now I'm into the private money part of it, of how to lend private money, how to find private money, how to source it, all the things. And that's where I'm at, because I stick in the genre of like, I'm staying in here. I'm reading a dozen books. I'm taking the courses until I understand it. And then I move.
So it sounds like you sort of just choose an area that you feel like is most beneficial, and then you just go hard in that area, whether that's coaches, training, courses, books, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like with jiu-jitsu. It's like you're going to work triangles because you're long and you like it until somebody starts passing your guard. Then you're like, okay, I need to stop that. And then you're trying to stop that for a while. It's the same thing. It's like I see a weakness in my game or what I feel like, so I try to improve it.
That's good. I think the last question I want to ask you before we get into this little rapid fire or whatever you want to call it is, there's a guy that I follow, Craig Rochelle. I don't know if you've heard of him or followed him.
Name sounds familiar. It sounds familiar, yeah.
So he says this thing that's interesting, and he didn't invent this, but it's just kind of a cool way to phrase it. He says that you are who you are because of what you do, and you do what you do because of who you think you are. So we'll put it in jiu-jitsu terms or workout terms, right? You are a jiu-jitsu practitioner because you practice jiu-jitsu. And you practice jiu-jitsu because you think you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, right? So the reason for bringing that up is, like, in your case, you've like overcome a lot and you've accomplished a lot. Like, it's like the chicken and the egg. Like, was it like the mindset of like, I can do this, I can learn this, or was it doing the reps that gave you that confidence? I mean, I'm assuming it was a combination, but it's like some people say like the motivation like doesn't matter. It's just like, just do the thing and you'll get motivated kind of thing. Or is it like you've also like worked on your mindset and you've had coaches, so that's helped you like go to the next level? I'm just like, just curious if you have a response to that, any thoughts that come up for you.
Yeah, I mean, with me, like, I'm not a big motivation guy. Like, I am you stick to your routine and you get determined to get better at all of it. And the more that you know, because a lot of people come in, they're really smart, but they don't know anything about what you're doing. It's like, because the more you're in sales, the more you realize where you're weak. And then you want to study, you want to dive deep. And it's all about reps. Like, and one of my strengths is I've always been very confident. And I don't think I probably don't give myself enough credit. I don't think I'm as smart as most people. But I know with my work ethic, like, it's not just physical work ethic. It is like, now I'm reading these 3 books. I'm hiring these coaches. I mean, I've hired coaches that I got one coach that I don't talk to him every week now, but it's $4,000 for a 20-minute phone call. But he's the best at what he does. At that one little niche, he's the world's best at what he does. Some days we talk about the weather, and some days he'll give you something that'll change your life. You don't know. So it's like,
it's going to be.
No, but when it does, it's way worth more than $4,000.
Yeah, man, that's good. There's like affirmation of the value of coaching. Where most of the people listening are coaches themselves, right? But then sometimes we're hesitant to hire our own coaches. So
I've been coaching my entire life. I mean, I had boxing coaches, kickboxing coaches, grappling coaches, MMA, conditioning coaches, and that before I even started making any money.
Yeah, same here. I've had so many coaches, and it's been so valuable. And I like how you said that, because I didn't really think of it that way. Because I'm ROI guy, right? I want to make sure I'm getting that ROI. But yeah, it doesn't always come like you think, when you think, how you think. You might expect one thing, but might get more benefit in a different way from this guy that you're investing a lot of money in. So it's a good point there to be open there. All right, well, let's wrap up here. Just a few questions, pretty straightforward. Just like to ask most people. Part of it is selfish. I want to hear the answers myself. But first one is, you mentioned the 500 books. I don't know. I always have trouble phrasing this question because, like, I don't really like the question, like, what's your favorite book? But I don't know. What's a book that you think might be valuable to mention? Maybe it's a book that made a huge impact on you or you think could help others.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad was huge about understanding assets and liabilities. Start With Why was huge for me. That was a big one. I'm a big Simon Sinek fan. The 10X, Grant Cardone. I like that one. I read that about once a year.
Nice. What if somebody is interested in real estate? I know Rich Dad, Poor Dad would be a good answer there as well. Any others that come to mind? Or is that
investing in real estate, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, especially the understanding of what an asset and liability and good debt and bad debt. I mean, you've been taught your whole life that debt's bad, but then you realize that no one is super wealthy unless you're Elon Musk without debt. You need debt. There's good debt that somebody else pays for, then there's bad debt that you pay for. Consumer debt. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And beside that one, I think one of the best ones you could read is called the BRRRR, B-R-R-R-R book, wrote by Brandon Turner. And the BRRRR strategy is a strategy on how you buy a property, renovate the property, you rent the property, then you refinance it. So it's like flipping it, but instead of making the money, it becomes equity. Then when you refinance it, I've got $150,000, I got $30,000 in investments. I'm in it for 180. It appraises for 250. I can pull out 200. So I get all my money back plus 20 grand, and now someone else is paying for it. And you just continue to do it because your money's made in real estate. It's not made by flipping. It's not made by wholesaling. It's even not made by renting it. It's by holding that property for 15 years because it's going to double.
Yeah, that's good.
But the BRRRR strategy, BRRRR, Brandon Turner.
Awesome. Well, those are good recommendations. What's a mistake you've made that, I don't know, you feel like it helped you learn something really valuable, or maybe you could pass that along to people listening in their journey, financial or business or anything?
I think too, he's talking about coaches. And a lot of people don't want to go to coaches immediately, especially in this industry. To think you are the best at something is ridiculous. Tiger Woods, the best golfer in the world, had coaches at golf, at what he's the best in the world at. And to think you're the best at something is ridiculous, because you may have hired a bad coach. You may have hired a cheap coach, which is probably what you did.
Yeah.
There's coaches that can move the needle for you. And like I tell, you got to be a master at something, you have to have somebody's 10,000 hours. Because of books, podcasts, and coaches, I can borrow Billy's 10,000 hours in an hour conversation with him. And you can do that with a coach that's crushing it in whatever industry you want. So borrow those 10,000 hours.
That's so good. What are you looking for in a coach? Is it the fact that they accomplish the thing that you want, or is it that they've helped others, or maybe it just depends?
That's a lot of it. You got to accomplish. I got some rules about coaches. If you can't beat me up, don't tell me how to fight. If you can't outlift me, don't tell me how to lift. If you're not in shape, don't tell me how to eat. Like I am a prove it to me guy. And a lot of my coaches are like, I'm in these big rooms, and like the last coach I hired, his name was Gary Sharper. I was literally speaking into this room, because you got to give this is my business. And the guy's like, Tim, he goes, you're probably really good at making $1 million businesses. He goes, you're never going to be able to grow it until you have what do you call it? System perfection. He said, go out there and hire Gary Sharper. Okay. So I walked out in the lobby. So he's like $6,000 a month, but I needed what he offers. In my business now, everything is, it's on a spreadsheet, and I can tell you anything about it at any time. So he's given me operational excellence. So yeah.
That's awesome. Have you had any coaches where you're like, that probably wasn't the best choice, or did you do such good research that you kind of made some all good choices? Yeah,
pretty much. I had a coach, my first coach ever, probably made me $60,000 the first week I was with him. And this is when I was paying like $1,000 for a coach, and you didn't know anything, but he'd put me on some stuff and made some good money. And he left the company he was with to start his own business. So the company he was with, I already had like hours left. So they put me on his roster, and it was not a good fit. He called literally, I remember the first day he goes, Tim, did you make your calls this week? I'm like, I'm going to sell 300 houses this year, and you're going to ask me if I'm making my calls? Like, and I looked him up. He sold like 20 houses that year. I'm like, no, I was like, there's different levels to this. And me asking me to make my calls, it's like, I'm obviously making my calls and then some.
Yeah.
So that was a bad fit. That was only one call. And I'm just like, that's a dumb question for me. So I stepped out.
I feel like that could happen. I don't know if you agree with this, but sometimes these coaches get big, and they start the company, and they have all the other coaches. And then it's like, sometimes those other coaches, they're not necessarily the same level. And then you are working with them, and they maybe don't have the experience.
It waters it down.
Yeah.
There's a local coach who sells real estate investing stuff. And literally I opened up a mentorship program. It's probably been about a month ago. I'm like, hey guys, I got 2 more spots, because I meet people 8 a.m. in the morning, especially investors. They pay me to coach them. I put them on deals. I help them with their real estate. Like, it's a win-win-win all the way around.
Yeah.
This guy's a local coach. Asked me if he could be in my, I could mentor him for real estate investing. And I'm like, and I know people who work with this guy a lot, and I'm just like, I don't think we're a good fit. I'm not going to coach my competition.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, literally, like, and I have people coming to me like, I coach with so-and-so. I'm like, great. I'm like, but now, and I don't know how good he is. He may be a genius, but to want to be mentored by another coach, I'm like, I don't know about that. In the same place.
Mm-hmm. Tim, on the flip side, what makes a good coaching student? What do you, because I'm sure you've seen that, right? It's like,
absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, what you can answer that either way. What makes you a good coaching student, or what makes you a bad coaching student? Probably the inverse, right?
I'll tell you what. It's like I coach. I still coach. I've slowed down on coaching because I can't coach even mediocrity is the enemy. It's on my bracelet. Like, I can't deal with mediocre people. Mm-hmm. I tell people, like, you've got to move blindly. If you're going to hire me, you've got to 100% trust me.
Yeah.
And if I say I want you to eat horse manure, like, I want you to get a mouthful of it, then ask me how much. You know what I mean? It's like, because that's the people that I've turned into making $40,000-$50,000 a year, making $300,000 a year, because they do the work. So you've got to be willing to do the work, and you can't question it until you're in a position to question it. You wouldn't be hiring me if you were in a position to question it.
Yeah.
But I'll get you there.
Yeah. That's one of the I don't know, like, one of the, like, pitfalls potentially of success. Right. And I'm not going to lie. Like I have felt that way. Like you start getting to the point where you've been doing it for a long time. You start feeling like you know stuff and then you're a little more hesitant to trust a coach. You're like, does he really know? But it's like, yeah, but if you need the help and they have the expertise, like you have to listen to what they say. Of course, it has to, it can't violate your values and whatnot, but it has to, you have to, yeah. All right. Last question. And then I'm going to let you go is you've done a lot. What's left for you? Like what's on your bucket list? I know you mentioned some numbers, some targets and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be like, I don't know, like an experience, a thing you want to do or accomplish or have or anything at all.
Continue investing. Still work with my clients, of course. I want the private money. I want to really focus on that for a while. Learn that side of it. And we do a side of it. I mean, I got a business partner in Tennessee and we keep over $1 million like loaned out at all times, but it's like we just now figured it out. Like we can really scale it. And the arbitrage on that is pretty good.
I lied, man. I got one more for you. How do you keep track of everything? Like you got the business, and I know you have partners, so I'm assuming that's part of it, right? They help that stuff, but like, I don't know. I'm assuming you're pretty planned. Like you probably know what you're going to do tomorrow, right? Like
Absolutely.
before, like where's the best place for you to put your time? And how do you stay organized with it? Do you have goals? You track them? I'm assuming yes.
The highest and best use is my morning. Like I work out 5 a.m. my kettlebell workout, 6 a.m. I'm kickboxing or jiu-jitsu. My first meeting starts at 8. And then from 8 to noon, I have that one meeting, and then I am doing nothing but prospecting, which is my highest income activity. I'm prospecting for either new deals or working with my clients.
Guys, hear that. Really, like just really hear that. Let that soak in. Here's a guy who has multiple $1 million businesses, and his number one activity is prospecting. There are people listening who are trying to make $30,000 a month that don't prospect, or they're not putting a lot of attention, giving a lot of attention. So really, that's like if there's anything you took away from this, it's that.
Well, the reason I have $1 million business is because I prospect every day.
Oh my goodness, dude! It reminds me of what was that? It was A Millionaire Next Door. I'm sure you've read that one.
Mm-hmm.
No, a classic.
Long time ago.
Yeah. But there's a part in that book where he says that people think that like once they make money, then they'll start learning how to manage it, right? Like the problem is I need more money, then I'll figure out how to manage it, right? And he argues that's backwards. You learn to manage the little that you have so that when you get more, you already have a system and you're able to create wealth with it. And it's like you're in great shape, Tim, right? So saying you don't need to prospect now would be like saying you don't have to work out now. Like the working out is what got you fit, right? The prospecting is what got you the businesses, right? So like,
that's a good one. That's that's one thing I can't get off my plate because that's the needle mover. And I've got to lead by example. I've got 20 agents.
Yeah.
My numbers show up there just like theirs do.
That is huge. I think there's such a temptation to think like, oh, once you get to that point, like you just outsource that. And I love that, man. I love it.
You're talking about the financial stuff of it. I remember now I do really good with my money. I understand where it's at. I understand what it's making. I understand, all the stuff. But remember the first rental house I bought, it was like $160,000 and I paid cash for it. And I remember the question is like a younger attorney, probably about my age at that time. I'm not young now, but at that time, he goes, man, how did you learn to save money like that? I was like, I didn't learn. And he goes, what'd you do? I said, I just made more than I could spend. And that was my goal. And I made more than I could spend up until the fact I'm like, okay, now I've got to learn what to do with this. Because I don't want to hustle like that my entire life. I mean, I'm 47 and I really want to still hustle like that. But eventually I'm going to not.
Yeah.
So I've tried to learn a little bit.
I was joking with my wife last night. I was like, I found the secret to financial success is don't tell your wife how much you're actually making, because then you could you could save a bunch more, right?
My wife's same way. We have split bank accounts. It's like, but she's got she's a general contractor. Like she's one of the few general contractors does only luxury builds. So she does really good too. So it really, we're a good partnership.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, no, we didn't really talk about your wife, but I know you guys do a lot of stuff together. You post a lot and it sounds like I already know that a huge part of your success is having that partnership in your life with her and the relationship.
She's the reason I have success.
Yeah. Same here. So, man, I can't thank you enough, Tim. Thanks. It's been a pleasure talking with you. It's been so great being together, and
Absolutely.
It's been really cool to see your journey. Looking forward to what's ahead. You're just getting started, man. We're both multiple degree black belts, and it's like we're just getting started with all this stuff. So looking forward to what's ahead.
White belt mentality.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes today's show. Thank you once again for listening. And as I often ask, please share this. If you know somebody who could benefit from the content, just share this episode or any other episodes. And if you could be so kind to leave a review, a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever else, that will help us spread the message. Definitely appreciate it. If you need any help, or you need to reach out for any reason, you could email me at financialfreedompt@gmail.com. That's financialfreedompt@gmail.com. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And once again, thank you for listening to the Your Fitness Money Coach podcast.